Things first, let's see if this will actually work, and if this does, we'll be good to go. Alright. Great, this does work. So the first one that we have is alright. First one we got is Pike to Sun Zero. I actually have a full script I gotta pull out now, but it's like a whole bunch of stuff. Let me see if I can find the script. Let me see if I can find the script. It's not really much of a script as much as it is just a bunch of useful information and factoids and stuff that I can read as I go through these. Um, yeah. Um, yeah, I really have no idea what to say right now. So let's just begin this, and I'll kind of start going through these as we go, I guess. All right, 3, 2, 1. This one actually goes pretty quick. So this first one here, again, Pike to Sun Zero. It was a suborbital technology demonstrator for the future Pike to Sun 1 orbital rocket. It was actually a complete success and was the first launch for the Korean Committee of Space Technology. It was the first ever space flight from the Korean Peninsula, utilizing a rocket like this. Payload design that this will actually have is entirely made up, as I don't actually have any thing that shows what the payload itself would have been on this flight. I don't even know if it would have had one. But yeah, so this is what we got for that. And yeah, so basically it would just reach space, and after a successful flight, it would it have eventually have just entered the Earth's atmosphere and burnt up. This one was not. Again, this is not an orbital flight, so it just went up and back down. Um, and it would have actually have ended up going over Japan. Um, of course, things might not be 100% accurate here. This is purely simulation, pretty much. So I don't think any of it would have actually have survived. But whatever did survive would have just splashed down in the Pacific Ocean. All right, on to the next part, which is finding the next one. Here we go. The next one I have here on this list is Type Podong 1, which was what a lot of the West thought the Pike to Sun 1 vehicle actually was. And this is a actual missile here, or at least what would have been if it actually was what it was. So this one here is a suborbital demo, basically of the Pike to Sun 1 vehicle. Um, and of course, due to this being a missile, the vehicle is just pretty much self-explanatory. It probably could have carried a nuclear warhead. It would have been a intercontinental ballistic missile if it was indeed real. With range that could have potentially have actually caused a threat to the US. However, again, no such missile was ever identified, and later on, the situation was resolved, and of course, it was revealed what it really was. Hello, hello, welcome. Yeah, so we're going through launches from 4 different countries, 5 different space agencies, several different rocket families. Right now we are on the Pike to Sun rocket family. Currently going on with the Type Podong 1 rocket. I'm doing pretty good. Again, just doing this here as we kind of go through. Currently on stage 2 burn of the Pike to Sun, or of the Type Podong 1 missile. Actually, I really have not tested these at all. I barely speak any. I only know a few basic words. Yeah, if you're wanting that, might not be the best kind of stream for you. There we go. And separate the warhead. And that is pretty much how that one would have worked. Now going through the Earth's atmosphere, this thing would have just, again, been a nuclear warhead. That's 2 out of, I have no idea how many launches done in this mega project I got here. Yeah, yes indeed. So we'll just kind of speed things up here. As you can see, the warhead continuing to cruise. and it would just do that because that's just how Spaceflight Simulator works. There's no warhead piece in here. Yeah, yeah. All right, next one we have is I think up here. No, it's not. Where is this one? Jeez, I really wish this was sorted out better. I probably passed it already, and I just have no idea of knowing. Because I cannot see it. Yeah, there it is. Found it. Alright, next one is Pike to Sun 1. Now this launch here, actually ended up having a launch failure occur. Where the, rocket ended up failing 4 minutes and 53 seconds into the launch. However, the DPRK claimed the launch was a complete success. This would have been the first satellite from the Korean Peninsula to have launched. As you can see here, I do have a mod that actually does enable launch failures, but due to how overly built these things are, I don't think it's really going to be much of an issue. The first two stages of this vehicle were all liquid fuel. And launched from the Tonghai Satellite Launching Ground. It is a 3-stage vehicle. There you can now see it on its 3rd stage. The entire point of this is actually to be educational. So sorry if this feels boring as all get out. Now in space, fairing is separated. Yeah, definitely has to be a stable orbit for this, indeed. Separation of the 3rd stage. And ignition. And it's actually kind of accurate to what the real orbit would have looked like on this darn thing. It would have been a highly elliptical orbit given what they said it was 218.82 kilometers by 6,978 kilometers is what North Korea claimed the satellite entered into an orbit around the Earth. However, nothing was tracked in orbit after the launch. So the next vehicle I have is one that I literally had to look on an entirely different site for. Some of these rockets don't actually exist on Wikipedia, so it was really hard actually finding these. And gotta see if I can find this stupid thing. Again, I wish that there was a better way to sort. I don't even see it. I know I have it somewhere. I could have sworn that I did. It's somehow gone. This is not good at all. Well, it would have been. Oh, here it is. I found it. Okay. So this is the Pike Tucson 1A, which would have been a modification of the already existing Pike Tucson 1 rocket. It was a canceled upgrade to the Pike Tucson 1 vehicle. So basically, the entire flight would have been the exact same as the Pike Tucson 1, just slightly different, I guess. Given that it is a enhanced version. Though enhanced really could mean anything. So now on the second stage. Just like the previous one, this one would have used a solid third stage. So nothing really changed at all. An engine failed. Oh no, that's crazy. It sure isn't affecting anything on this darn thing. Pike Tucson 1A actually never flew, so whatever happens here, happens here. And I guess I can consider this the actual flight, I guess. Cut off there. Separate. 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Nominal orbit. And separation. Nice. A bit better than that other one, which is now probably just forever going to be orbiting really like. Okay, sure, sure. All right, next one I have on my list is Taipudong 2. Ooh, so we're actually starting to get closer to the end of the Pike Tucson family. That's fun. All right. So Taipudong 2 and the Pike Tucson 2 are, again, extremely similar in design. Pike Tucson 2 was once thought to be, or Taipudong 2 was once thought to be Pike Tucson 2, which was actually also claimed to be the Unha 1 vehicle. So actually very interesting things here. And both rockets, Pike Tucson 2 and Unha 1, have actually both technically existed. But we'll get to that in a bit after we're done with this entire thing here. Because it's actually very confusing with how the heck they both could exist. Without ever actually having a flight, in a way. And that's cut off, stage separation, and ignition on the second stage. There's the fairing separation. So this was yet another ICBM. So this one wouldn't actually really reach orbit. That's not going to be until the Pike to Sun 2, which I can now actually pull that one up. If I go farther again, there it is, right next to Pike to Sun 0. Alright. This is where things kind of took a weird turn. Okay, well that sucks. That was actually part of the detail on the fairing, but whatever. And this one eventually became a rocket over in Iran's space agency, which we'll actually probably get to straight. I don't know. Let's see how things go. But yeah, Pike to Sun 2 was very interesting. It would have also been the final launch of the Pike to Sun family of rockets. And, of course, would have begun an entire different program to follow. And that's cut off, stage separation, and second engine start. And I did not test that out at all. So I'll actually have to. There it is. Yes, these rockets do actually require cheats to get them to actually function. That's one of the many issues that these things have. I've done experiments with these things before, and they tended to not really like working that well a lot of times. So, yeah. Now the thing with these rockets here is they actually did not have the ability to restart their engines because these were all just modified ICBM technology. So if you're wondering why there's no Like, yeah. Okay, I did not test that out either, and it stopped. Okay, well, whatever. Let's just pretend like it actually did separate. Yeah, there we go. Hi, welcome in, welcome in. We are now done with the Pike to Sun family of rockets. This was Pike to Sun 2, the final rocket in the family. And we shall now move on to the next one, which is the Unha family of rockets. So Unha is a very interesting family. It's the one that is most common or most popular out of DPR Korea, as it is also the one that had their first ever launch success. So 3, 2, 1. And there's the launch of Unha 1. Yeah. This is part of a mega project I have, which spans 4 different countries. Um, Currently focusing on the rockets of North Korea. Um, Now, the thing that actually makes these rockets so interesting is, again, these were all modified warhead or modified missiles and stuff that were converted to orbital rockets and stuff. Just like early spaceflight with the R-7 becoming Sputnik, which later evolved into Soyuz, and of course the Titan II rockets and Redstone and Mercury or the Atlas rockets. Those are all missiles and stuff that were converted to become rockets for spaceflight. Um, so kind of interesting whenever you really look at all of it. But because of that, these rockets did not have the ability to restart their engines in space. But they were pretty cool. These are actually not anime, but these are from a video game called Toho Project. If you look through my channel, I actually play a lot of Toho, and I actually have a little thing over here. I'm a huge fan of Toho Project, and there we have stage separation. But yeah, excellent question. Thank you so much for asking. Um, yeah. Oh shoot, that did not work out at all. Is it? Yeah. Is this it not? Oh, that's that. Yeah. Okay. I was wondering what was happening. Okay. Okay. Oh, we got to redo that. Whatever. At least I know I can actually fly. But yeah, my previous stream that I did, I was playing it. All right. There we go. There we go. That's better. And orbit. Good. Nice. Perfect. And there goes the satellite. Nice. Another beautiful success. All right. And the final one from the Tonghai site was the Unha 2 orbital rocket. So here we go with that launch. A bit more of a flight. This one actually ended up failing, and however, North Korea claims that it was in a 490 kilometers by 1,426 kilometer orbit around the Earth after its flight. Nothing was tracked in orbit after the flight in that area, so the launch was confirmed as a failure outside of North Korea. Which is something that you're probably going to notice quite a bit with this, is that they have flights they claimed were successful, but weren't. And that is cut off. And second engine started. Now on the second stage of the Unha 2 vehicle. So what actually happened here with for the reason why this one here failed was actually because of the third stage failing to separate from the vehicle. Which is kind of not what you want. Of course, can't really simulate that here. Oh, yeah, okay, there we go. Wow. Huh. And there's the bearing separation. And nominal orbit. So here, this one actually ended up succeeding, obviously, as you can tell, it's in a nominal orbit. So that worked. Next up, we move on to another launch site, this time being the Sohae Satellite Launching Station. With its first flight, and also its second flight being the exact same vehicle with the exact same payload. Ish, technically. Well, you like planes and rockets? Yeah. Yeah, I'm a pretty big plane guy myself. I sometimes I'll just go outside and take pictures of aircraft and stuff that I find. Yeah. Um, this used to be a channel completely dedicated to Spaceflight Simulator before I actually kind of shifted my interest over towards Toho Project and stuff, which is kind of what I do now. I've been having this project as something I've been wanting to do for a while now. Is this a presentation? Not in a sense that you might think. This is more of like a showcase of my one-to-one scale replicas of real rockets and their launches and stuff. Um, I actually have a entire document that talks about every single one of these a bit more than I actually am right now. But yeah, uh, there's a lot, and right now we're working on uh the DPRK and their orbital rockets. Um, but yeah, if you want my spaceflight simulator channel, I actually have one completely dedicated to that. That is over at Nico Aerospace SFS. I stream stuff on there occasionally, not as often as I would have in the past. Again, after I kind of shifted over away from SFS, it kind of died out, but it's not space again. There we go. Play the fairing and ignition. Okay, that's not gonna work. Whatever. Whatever, that should be okay. Yeah. So this is also technically a replica of the second flight of Unha 3. The first flight of Unha 3 exploded at just 1 minute and 30 seconds into the launch. Um, and yeah. The second flight of Unha 3 made it the first ever orbital launch from the Korean Peninsula to successfully reach orbit. Actually, I think I have a blueprint dedicated to that because its pad actually did look slightly different. Do I or do I not? No, okay, I do. Here it is. I was like, I thought I had one. But yeah, the launch pad for that one actually was a bit different. Um, so here we go into that second flight of the Unha 3 vehicle. Again, all of these are one-to-one scale replicas of the actual rocket and satellite as well. All stages are one-to-one scale. All satellites are one-to-one scale. I think there's only two that are going to be different, and there's a few satellites that I did end up just making up myself due to the fact that the rockets, first off, never actually flew. We don't know what the satellite would have actually looked like, and some other big things, such as one of them actually is just like there's just too many CubeSats on the launch, so I just kind of copied and pasted one that I already had and just called it a day with that. But that's yeah. We'll get to those whenever we get to those. We are now approaching the end of stage one burn. There's cutoff. And there we go. Now on the second stage, continuing to burn nominally. I was originally planning on like having some music in the background for these, but I kind of decided against it because I feel like it would just kind of take away from the vibe here. This was also the last launch of the Korean Committee of Space Technologies before they would become, or before they were actually replaced by the National Aerospace Development Administration. There we go, that one reaching orbit successfully. The next vehicle on the list is the first one, again, from the National Aerospace Development Administration. And the one and only launch of the Kwankumaya. The biggest one I have, I think might actually be the Unha 20, which is actually really massive. Um, uh, uh, the uh, the characters are from a game series called Toho Project. That's the main focus of this channel. Um, Actually, believe it or not, I do a lot more Toho Project stuff on this channel than I do anything else. This is just me kind of taking a break right now because I've had this project sitting, doing nothing for quite some time now, and I think now is a good time to just showcase my builds. Um, but yeah, no, excellent question. I don't, yeah, yeah. Thank you for asking. Again, yeah, do a backflip. Shoo. I got nowhere to do a backflip, man. All around me, there's stuff all over. Um, Also, I just kind of don't feel like it, and also I really can't, and also, uh, yeah. All right. Stage separation and second stage start. Put it to full throttle so that way it can actually move. The first stage on all of the, or on most of these rockets is just way too overkill for what it actually should be. So that's an actual, like, serious problem. And ignition. Second stage is, or the third stage is now going to deliver the satellite into its nominal orbit. There we go. And just like that, yet another satellite is off my list. Alright. Now, the next one would have just been a repeat of that exact launch, so I'm going to actually kind of skip over that one. And instead, we're going to go to our first of many interesting ones, if you will. This is Unha 9, a rocket that was conceptualized at one point but never actually built. And there's actually three different variants of it. One of them I'll actually show at the end of this Unha showcase, because it is quite the interesting one, I'll say at the least. So as one can tell, obviously, this launch, again, just like the rest of them, and it will go to the exact same destination. Not really much has changed. But yeah, again, I really don't stream Spaceflight Simulator on this channel, well, as like at all anymore. So if you're wanting more Spaceflight Simulator content, this isn't really the channel. But if you're just kind of here to chill out and hang out and stuff and learn some stuff, then yeah. Why and when did I start posting? Um, Posting what exactly? My videos? Um, Gosh, my videos, I think my first one was like 2021 or something. And it was just because I kind of wanted to, I guess. Uh, yeah, really not a whole lot to it. Yeah, I just kind of started feeling like it and thought, hey, you know what? Why not? Shoot, my first like several videos, I think I recorded those and posted them in school, which is kind of crazy seeing how much I've changed over those few years now. Yeah, go ahead and burn, ignition, and fairing deploy. Go, nominal orbit, deploy, and there we go. Nice. Now the next one, again, is very interesting, and I think it might take top for largest vehicle so far. This is yet another Unha 9 variant, this one being one from 2017. And it could have potentially have launched things well beyond. So let's get ready for that. So North Korea has stated that they actually have plans to launch launch satellites to geostationary orbit. Of course, obviously enough to do that, you're going to need a pretty powerful rocket, which is what this Unha 9 and the Unha X vehicles would have potentially have been if they were actually built. Which, of course, obviously, they weren't. Um, Now, the thing is, as well, Unha 9 and um, another Unha vehicle, which I will not yet name, were pretty much conceptualized for flights to, well, the moon and Mars, and potentially even beyond. North Korea has stated plans for Mars or for lunar and Martian launches in the past. However, of course, those have yet to have even begin. So far, they're all talk but no show. Really makes you wonder if they're actually serious about anything like that. Anyways, of course, creative liberties are taken where creative liberties can be taken. As some of these rockets have not flown, I actually have no clue what the satellite or payload, or what the payload or the upper stages would have actually have looked like. So basically, what I've done here is I've gathered my own ideas and my own thoughts and kind of just merged them into one big giant rocket idea. And you'll notice that a lot with some duplicate stuff occasionally because that's really all that I've got that I can do. So here we go. Now that we are in space, the fairing is also jettisoned. And we continue our boost. First, we're going to do a parking orbit. And now that we are in that parking orbit, we can start the next burn. Which will be the geostationary transfer burn. And now that we are, of course, ready for that, we can now begin the final burn, which is the burn that will actually put the satellite into geostationary orbit. Deploy the satellite, and just like that, another success. Now for the next one, which again, I don't know. I think this one might be my biggest. Actually, I forgot which one was my biggest. I'm gonna be real. I have so many rockets. It's really hard to actually remember. It's so out of order. Jesus, not fun. Where is it? Oh, it's right up here. Of course it was. No, wow, that one actually took up the entire pad. Okay, so I think this one actually might be my biggest. Huh. Alright, well, Unha 10, or Unha X, as I call it. Yeah, giant rocket indeed, and I clearly underestimated its left off the rust. So that's kind of my bad. I say as it's not almost out of fuel on its first stage. There we go. One engine failed. Whatever. Still going through. 15 kilometers altitude. And out of fuel. Bearings up. Stage up. And ignition. See, this one here, I should be able to just do a direct burn to geostationary. Just because of how overpowered this one is. I did not realize how overpowered of a rocket this was until just now, actually, which is kind of funny. But also at the same time, kind of sad. But yeah. Um, I do not plan on releasing these blueprints at all, mainly because some of them actually do use mods and custom textures. So even if I did, you're not really gonna get the same look. Alright, anyways, on to the next fun part. This is what I'm talking about by big, pretty much. Um this one's actually so big that um yeah, it's also so powerful and stuff, and also I just realized that there's an issue that I was not expecting. So I'm actually gonna have to do something about that. And it's called add more fuel. Just simple idea, but it works. And it works, I think. Oh yeah, ish. It's gonna start to throttle down. And full throttle now. There go the boosters. Another engine failure. We continue on. And we have main engine cut off. Fair accept. Engine's on. And Earth orbit achieved. All right. Now for the next part, which is actually the more interesting part, I think. The manned flight. Yes, that's right. The manned launch now. Because this rocket would have actually have been able to support crew later down the line. And so, of course, I just had to build it, the crew vehicle. I might actually have to turn on another cheat, which is infinite fuel, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to actually get the full grasp of how the actual thing is supposed to work. Which I never like having to turn on multiple cheats for just a simple, stupid little rocket like these, but whatever. It's whatever. Anyways, continuing on course and on a nominal climb, everything is looking good. 10 kilometers in altitude. Vehicle performance is continuing as planned. $15 kilometers. Stage separation. And second engine start. Coming up now on launch abort system tower jettison, which I actually have not tested out yet. So this is actually going to be the first test. Okay. That's what I was afraid of. Okay. There we go. Whatever. Continuing on the burn. Heading over into orbit. I'm actually going to just do a little bit more on the orbital raising here. All right. There we go. That should be good. All right. Now we can actually start doing this. And actually try to get this orbital maneuver to not intersect with the Earth. because that would be most beneficial. Oh, what the heck? Where's my... Where did it go? Yeah. I just lost the freaking upper stage, or not the upper stage, but the rocket that I was just there we go, there it is. Okay. Oh crap. Um, this is actually going to be a bit more painful. The character on the screen is Chen from Toho Project. I also have Ron and Ikari on here as well. Um, there we go, that's better. Yeah, I genuinely have no idea what I'm doing right now. I am not doing good at all with my orbit. Oh my gosh, this is painful. Okay, wait. No, I got it. I know what to do here. Okay. Yeah, it's not really tough as much as it is just I have not played Spaceflight Simulator for docking stuff in a little bit. So I'm kind of basically a tad bit new at this, I guess. I see it. Shit. Oh, fuck. Get rid of bearing. Yeah, you guys say tough, and I just think of Minecraft, the tough block that they added. That's what I think of. All right. This is now the burn on the Unha 20 to bring it to the moon. And this will actually not do the orbital insertion burn. This will just be for the translunar injection burn. Really doing surprisingly good right now. I'm really impressed. There we go. Perfect. Might be able to do a little bit of that burn actually. Heck yeah. Oh wow, that actually worked. Nice. Okay, I was not expecting it to just waste the fuel that fast. Okay. That's not good. So I will actually have to use that cheat. Crap. Alright. So now that that's done, we can begin the next big part of the mission, which is coming up now. Oh, are you for real? Okay, well, the engine is supposed to be able to work. Oh, I fucked it up. It's a good thing we have these backup engines, aka RCS thrusters. Even though these things are super slow and making me kind of irritated. What the heck? Whatever. I don't even know now that one will work. Oh, sure. Hey, look at that, it works. Awesome. Alright. Alright. I have put the angle at exactly 0 somehow for the first time ever playing Spaceflight Simulator that I've managed to pull off the exact 0. Yeah, I've never done that before. Huh, cool. Um, Almost done with the DPRK family of rockets, so yeah. So We are now approaching the lunar surface. Of course, slowly, but we're getting there. Trust me. I promise we're getting there. Oh, okay. This lander is not based on any actual lunar lander or anything. This is based off of my own imagination and what I think a lunar lander would look like from the TPRK, and that's really it. That's all there is to it. There is no other hidden lore or meaning behind it. Um, yeah, coming down fast. Dust. And there is touchdown. Now on the moon, of course, obviously the crew will do their things. They'll say their lines and all that other fun shenanigans for however long they stay up. Before, of course, they have to leave the moon. And I actually have the I have it to where the lander will actually never be cleared because I actually have a probe installed on it to make sure that it's not going to be cleared out because that would actually kind of suck after all of that hard time trying to figure out how the heck to do it if I couldn't do it and it was just gone forever. So yeah. All right. There we go. Now the goal here is obviously to rendezvous back with the capsule before embarking on the journey back to Earth. Now in a lunar orbit, which is good. All right. Cool. So the orbits are now entirely matched up. What we'll do now is we'll start to close in. Close the gap between the two orbital craft. As much as possible. Because I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, but it is very, very difficult to get two spacecraft to actually dock with each other. I can actually see the capsule now. The fact that it's already been an hour and 30 minutes of just me attempting to basically return a manned orbital craft to the stuff here is actually insane. Not at all what I was expecting. Oh, free game doesn't. If you want tough gameplay, though, I definitely recommend checking out my Toho project stuff. That stuff's crazy, crazy difficult game. Really fun, but man, definitely not for definitely not the most fun game. Uh, Anyways, successful docking vehicle is now docked, which is great news. And this part is we're almost done with part one. Just a few more launches left. And then part one is complete. So I guess there will be more spaceflight simulator streams on this channel. Alright. Oh boy. Yeah, I never thought about just how time consuming it really was to actually do these kind of things. So yeah. All right. back in orbit. Let's check. Shoot. Let's check the. Alright. Thought I was using my planet pack. So I guess it just doesn't matter then. That's fine. We'll just go and land it here then. 3, 2, 1, 0. So now we are actually entering the Earth's atmosphere. The vehicle is now actually going to react to the Earth's atmosphere. Plasma building up outside of it. Again, stuff I've actually never tried before. These things could actually get really bad really quick or really great really fast. I got no idea of knowing which one it's gonna be, so yeah, here we go. Alright, nice, look at that. Good. Actually, really surprisingly good. Okay. Wait, I might actually really be able to get this really good. 3, 2, 1. Great. There goes the cover and the parachutes. Yeah, like, alright. And touchdown. And just like that, successful flight. And this brings me down to just let's see here. Not that many more. I'll go ahead and skip some of them because it's actually probably just going to be for the best anyways. There it is. There we go. There it is. 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff. This thing was just a suborbital vehicle. Didn't really do anything except go up and back down for its mission. But its mission was a very important one. And it beamed back images of the Korean Peninsula ahead of the next big launch that they would do from the DPRK. which again, we have the rocket for. Just gonna find out where the NATA version is, because that's where we are right now. Where is it? There it is. So this one here, this version actually only ended up flying a grand total of 2 different times. Check, make sure everything is good before actually doing this. All right. And just like that, that falls. Ignition and liftoff. So the vehicle is now soaring through the sky. And if anything happens during this first stage flight, it's actually over. Um, so we gotta be very careful, make sure that nothing bad happens. And second stage flight now. The vehicle continues on a nominal trajectory. And by nominal trajectory, I mean most certainly orbital. As far as it's concerned. Stage 2. Fairing jettison. Fairing separation confirmed. Nominal orbit achieved. And there it is, now in orbit. The next one I have is near the very top, so we'll actually have to go all the way up there. Grab it. Get it going. This one is actually a lot more detailed than the rest. With a bit more stuff on it. Which is kind of cool to look at, I guess. Extra red decals in the rocket. All of these are actually based on the real thing as well, so that's kind of cool too. Again, 1-to-1 scale replicas. Of the real life thing. In Spaceflight Simulator, which isn't actually a 1-to-1 scale, but whatever. It works. We get to space a bit early. There we go. All of that deployed. Nominal orbit. Deploy the satellite. Activate the engine. And there we go. Now for the next one, which is actually where things take a twist and a turn for the potentially worse. There's 2 different versions of this rocket because it's actually debated as to what it really is officially. So we're going to go and start off with the first one. if I can find it. This is actually painful. I can't find it. I hope it wasn't like gone or deleted or anything by accident. Oh, no, there it is. I'm just really stupid and blind. Got it. Three, two, one, zero. Ignition and liftoff. So this one's a bit more powerful than the previous one, which is great news. However, again, it's going to be flying on the exact same flight profile as the previous one. Just to get to low Earth orbit and complete the flight. As planned. And that's it. That's the goal. And this one actually is a bit more advanced. And it also now leaves us with just one more orbital rocket left in this entire thing, which is this one right here, which is actually very interesting. This one is based off of the Angara rocket from Russia. Yes, indeed. That's right. Russia, the Russian Federation. Apparently, it is believed that the vehicle that North Korea now operates for orbital flight is actually just the Angara 1.2 rocket. So, of course, I built it. And yeah, hello, welcome to the stream. We are almost done with the first country in the Megaproject collection I have here. And I was actually thinking about ending it after that. Just two more suborbital launches are left in this or no, three more are left, and then it's over. Um, Currently launching now the new type satellite carrier rocket, which is based on the Angara 1.2 rocket from the Russian Federation. And And just like that, that satellite has reached orbit. Which now just leaves us with, I guess, yeah, just the last two, which I guess I can just go ahead and knock those out right now. So next one is the Song 7 missile. Just that's all it is. It's just short range ballistic missile. Alright, now I guess this one's more of like a medium range, but it's still a missile. So yeah. And then the next one is literally just the same blueprint, but twice. I'll just skip over it and just go with this one, which is exactly what it is, but twice. Yeah. So there we go. Three, two, one. This one is also an ICBM. This one is probably the more famous of the ICBMs from DPR Korea. But yeah, that concludes the first segment, which is launches from the Korea DPR. After that, all that is left now is now all that we got is Iran, Israel, and South Korea. However, this has been going on now for almost 2 hours. I think I will call it the end of the stream. I am not too tired, but I am definitely feeling a bit tired. Sorry if you came in late, but it's just where I'm gonna have to end the stream. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you like what you like, if you want to see the next one whenever that one drops, or whenever I stream that, just yeah, I guess just whatever. I'm gonna go now. This has been some stream.